Hello students, in this video we are going to learn the first segment of the lesson, Health and Diseases. This lesson will be available in 3 segments. The World Health Organization (WHO) defines health as a state of complete physical, mental and social well-being, and it is not merely the absence of diseases. So we can rightly say health is wealth. To live a healthy life, one must follow personal hygiene, regular exercise and balanced diet. These 3 are very important for a healthy life. Disease can be defined as a disorder or malfunction of the mind or body. Disease can be broadly grouped into infectious and non-infectious types. The diseases which are transmitted from one person to another are called as infectious diseases or communicable diseases. So when the diseases are transmitted from one person to another, it is called as infectious disease or communicable disease. And these diseases are caused by the organisms called pathogens. The disease causing organisms are called as pathogens. And these organisms are transmitted through air, water, food, physical contact and vectors. The disease-causing pathogen may be a virus, bacteria, fungi, protozoan parasites, helminthic parasites, etc. So infectious diseases are common and everyone will suffer from it. So we are also very much aware of this COVID-19, which is also an infectious disease. Most of the bacterial diseases are curable, but all the viral diseases are not curable. Some infectious diseases like AIDS may be fatal. What are non-infectious diseases? These non-infectious diseases do not get transmitted from the diseased person to a healthy person. In origin, they may be genetic. Example for genetic diseases, cystic fibrosis. Because of the nutritional deficiency like vitamin deficiency diseases. Some are degenerative diseases like arthritis, heart attack and stroke, etc. So these diseases will not be transmitted from the diseased person to a healthy person. Origin is varying from genetic, nutritional, degenerative diseases, etc. Cancer is one of the non-infectious diseases and cancer causes death. Various common human diseases. They are caused by various pathogens, namely bacteria, virus, fungus, protozoan and helminthes. Bacterial diseases: dysentery, plague, diphtheria, cholera, typhoid, pneumonia. Viral diseases: common cold, mumps, measles, viral hepatitis, dengue fever, chikungunya, chickenpox, poliomyelitis. Fungal diseases: candidiasis, athlete foot. Protozoan diseases: malaria, amoebiosis, African sleeping sickness, Kala Azar. Helminthic diseases: ascariasis, filariasis. Now bacterial diseases, they are caused by the pathogen called bacteria. These pathogens make their entry into the human body and they emit some toxins, and these toxins will affect the body. Bacteria can spread through air, water, and by inhaling the droplets and even by sharing the utensils or fomites with the infected person. Typhoid fever can be confirmed by the viral test. Certain bacterial diseases are enlisted in our reader, like shigellosis, bacillary dysentery, which is caused by Shigella species. It affects the intestine. Mode of transmission through contaminated food and water, and the symptoms are abdominal pain, dehydration, blood and mucus in the stools. Bubonic plague, which is called as Black Death, caused by Yersinia pestis. It infects the lymph nodes, transmitted by rat flea, which is considered as a vector, Xenopsilla chiopsis. Symptoms are fever, headache, swollen lymph nodes, etc. Diphtheria, Corynebacterium diphtheriae. Site of infection, larynx, skin, nasal and genital passage. Mode of transmission is droplet infection. The person who is having diphtheria, when they cough, sneeze, etc., the droplets when other healthy person is inhaling, it's taking in their body, will get infected. Symptoms are fever, sore throat, hoarseness and difficulty in breathing. Cholera. Cholera is caused by Vibrio cholerae. It affects the intestine, gets transmitted through the contaminated food and water. The symptoms severe diarrhea and dehydration. Tetanus, it is otherwise called lockjaw, caused by Clostridium tetani. It affects muscles, spasm of muscles. Spasm means sadai pidippu. Transmission through wound infection. So when we have a cut or any injury, immediately we will take the TT injection, that is tetanus toxoid injection, because through the cut and the wound, this bacteria can enter into our body. Symptoms are rigidity of the jaw muscles, increased heartbeat rate and spasm of the muscles of the jaw and the face. Typhoid, enteric fever, Salmonella typhi, it infects the intestinal region, gets transmitted through the contaminated food and water. The symptoms are headache, abdominal discomfort, fever and diarrhea. Next one is pneumonia, Streptococcus pneumoniae. It affects the lungs, get infected through droplet infection, causes fever, cough, painful breathing and brown sputum. Tuberculosis, Mycobacterium tuberculosis, affects the lungs, transmission through the droplet infection. Symptom, mucopurulent nasal discharge, which means nasal discharge with mucus and pus. What is this bacterial resistant? If a person is affected by infection, we will take the antibiotic. If the antibiotic is used too often for a specific bacterial infection, then this bacteria may become resistant to that specific antibiotic. Hence, we should not use often this antibiotic for every small infection which can be taken care by our own body's immune system. We should not take the antibiotic. So, when we take like this often, this antibiotic can no longer be used to treat the bacterial infection. It will not kill the bacteria and do any good for us. Why? Because these bacteria would have developed resistant against this antibiotic. Like that, many bacteria will develop the resistance to many antibiotic, and so the infections of these bacteria become very difficult to be cured. So how to avoid this? How to reduce this risk of bacterial resistance? First, we should avoid using antibiotic to treat the minor infection, which will be taken care by our own immune system. Our body's immune system itself will fight against this very small minor infection, and we can be cured by ourselves. And this antibiotic should not be used to treat the viral infection like common cold and flu. And we must always follow the prescription of the doctor, skipping the doses and failing to complete course of the antibiotic also develop antibiotic resistance. Now we are very much aware of the viral diseases because of the COVID-19. Viruses are smallest intracellular obligate parasite. Intracellular means they can live within the cell. They cannot live outside the living cell. They can live only inside the living cells. They are obligate parasites, means they are strictly parasites. They cannot live in other way. So outside the living cells, they cannot carry out the characteristic features of a living organism. So viruses will invade the living organism, forcing these living cells to create the new viruses, and these new viruses will break open the cell and come out killing it, and these viruses will invade the other new cells of the body, causing the disease in the human beings. Common cold is a viral disease which is caused by the rhinovirus. Here we can see the different types of viruses that causes disease in human beings. Hepatitis C virus causes liver disease, coronavirus, even COVID-19 is one of the coronavirus, herpes virus, bird flu virus, smallpox virus, influenza virus and rhinovirus, which cause the common cold. Based on the symptoms produced in the body of the human beings, the viral diseases are grouped into 4 types. They are pneumotropic disease. Pneumotropic disease will infect and cause disease in the respiratory tract. Example, influenza. Second one is called dermotropic disease. The term dermo means skin and the subcutaneous tissue of our body. These viruses cause diseases like chickenpox and measles. The third one is viscerotropic diseases. So it will affect the blood and the visceral organs. And diseases like yellow fever and dengue fever are example. The last fourth one is neurotropic diseases. This affects the central nervous system of our body, and example for neurotropic viral diseases, rabies and polio. Now some of the viral diseases in human beings. First one, common cold causative organism is rhinovirus. It infects the respiratory tract. Mode of transmission is droplet infection. Symptoms are nasal congestion, discharge, sore throat, cough and headache. The second disease is mumps, caused by the mumps virus, RNA virus, that is paramyxovirus. It infects the salivary glands of our body. Saliva and droplet infection are the mode of transmission. Symptoms are enlargement of the parotid glands of the salivary glands. Then measles, rubella virus, caused by rubella virus, affect the skin and the respiratory tract of our body. Transmission through the droplet infection. Symptoms are the sore throat, running nose, cough, fever, reddish rashes on the skin, neck and ear. The fourth one is viral hepatitis. Hepatitis B virus affect the liver of our body. The mode of transmission is parenteral routes, which means administration by injection, blood transfusion, etc. Symptoms are liver damage, jaundice, nausea, yellowish eyes, fever, pain in the abdomen. The next one is chickenpox, varicella virus, zoster virus, which is a DNA virus. It affects the respiratory tract, skin and nervous system. Transmission through the droplet infection and direct contact. Symptoms are mild fever with itchy skin, rash and blisters. I hope you know the blisters are the koplangal. Then poliomyelitis, poliovirus, which is the RNA virus, affects the intestine, brain, spinal cord. Transmission through droplet infection through the fecal oral route. Symptoms are fever, muscular stiffness and weakness, muscles become stiff and weak, paralysis and respiration failure. Dengue fever, it is otherwise called breakbone fever, caused by the dengue virus or flavivirus. It affects the skin and the blood. Mosquito Aedes aegypti is the vector through which it is transferred. The symptoms are severe flu-like illness with sudden onset of fever and painful headache, muscles and joint pain. Last one, chikungunya. Alpha virus or toga virus affects the nervous system. It is also passed on through the vector Aedes aegypti mosquito. Symptoms are fever, joint pain, headache and joint swelling. Common cold is caused by rhinovirus, we know, and it is having more than 150 strains. These many strains are produced because these viruses are RNA viruses and they can keep on changing their genome due to mutation, and so it is very difficult to prepare a vaccine for this disease. Nipah virus, which is also type of zoonotic virus. Zoonotic viruses mean they will be transmitted from the animals to human beings. The infected people, they cause a range of sickness. Sometimes they are asymptomatic, they do not show any symptoms, and sometimes they show acute respiratory illness and fatal encephalitis. The fatal means death, encephalitis means inflammation in the brain. What is swine flu? Swine flu was a viral disease which was recognized in 1919 as pandemic, and still it is present, it is circulating in our population. Swine flu is caused by H1N1 virus strain. The symptoms are fever, cough, sore throat, chillness, weakness and body aches. Children, pregnant women and elderly persons are at high risk. Next we have protozoan diseases. About 15 genera of protozoans live as parasites within the human body and cause disease in us. We shall see few of them. First one is amoebiosis. Amoebiosis is also called as amoebic dysentery or amoebic colitis because it affects the colon region of our intestine. This is caused by the pathogen named Entamoeba histolytica. It lives in the large intestine of our body and feeds on the food particles and bacteria. The infective stage of this parasite is called as tropozoite. At the tropozoite stage, these parasites will infect our body and they will penetrate into the walls of the intestine, that is colon, and they secrete a histolytic enzymes, and these enzymes cause ulceration, they cause bleeding in our intestine and cause abdominal pain and release the stools with excess mucus. The symptoms of amoebiosis will range from diarrhea to dysentery with blood and mucus in the stool. Houseflies, Musca domestica, act as a carrier of this parasite and they contaminate from the fecal matter, they contaminate the food and the water. The second disease is African sleeping sickness, and this is caused by the species called Trypanosoma species. There are 3 species of Trypanosoma. The first one is called Trypanosoma gambians. This protozoan is transmitted by the blood-sucking tsetse flies, which is called Glossina palpalis. This is the tsetse fly, which causes Gambian or Central African sleeping sickness. The second called Trypanosoma rhodesiensis. It is transmitted by another fly which is called Glossina morsitans, another species of tsetse fly, causing Rhodesian or East African sleeping sickness. The third species of the Trypanosoma is Trypanosoma cruzi, and this is transmitted by a bug which is called Triatoma megista, and this causes Chagas disease or American trypanosomiasis. The third protozoan disease is Kala Azar or visceral leishmaniasis. So in this picture you can see the Leishmania species. This is caused by Leishmania donovani. This is transmitted by the vector like mosquitoes and the tsetse fly. This fly is commonly called a sand fly, that is Plebotomus. The infection of the protozoan may occur in the endothelial cells of bone marrow, liver, lymph glands, blood vessels of the spleen, etc. The symptoms of the Kala Azar are weight loss, anemia, fever, enlargement of the spleen and the liver. The fourth disease is the malaria. Malaria is caused by different types of Plasmodium species, such as Plasmodium vivax, Plasmodium ovale, Plasmodium malariae and Plasmodium falciparum. Plasmodium lives in the RBC of the human, and at its mature condition in the RBC, these parasites are called as tropozoite, and it is transmitted from one person to another by the bite of the infected female Anopheles mosquito. Let us see the life cycle of Plasmodium now. Plasmodium vivax is a digenic parasite. That means it has 2 hosts, the primary host and the secondary host. The primary host is called the female Anopheles mosquito and man is considered as a secondary host. The life cycle of Plasmodium thus involves 3 phases, namely schizogony, gamogony and sporogony. The parasite will first enter into the human bloodstream by the bite of an infected Anopheles mosquito. When the infected Anopheles mosquito feeds on the blood of the healthy person, it injects the parasite in the form of sporozoite into the bloodstream of the person along with its saliva. This sporozoite, after entering the bloodstream, will reach the liver and it will enter into the liver cells. Inside the liver cell, it undergoes multiple fission, that is schizogony, and produce many merozoites. So these merozoites will be released from the liver cells, will penetrate into the RBCs. So inside the RBCs, these merozoite will begin to develop as the unicellular tropozoite. As they grow, this tropozoite will consume the content of the RBC and produce a large vacuole, pushing the cytoplasm of the RBCs to one side, and thus it becomes the signet ring stage. The tropozoite nucleus will again divide and it produces the schizont. The large schizont show many number of yellowish brown color pigmented granules which are called as Kuffner's granules. And this schizont will divide and produce many mononucleated merozoites. These merozoites can once again infect other RBCs, or it can enter into the next phase which is called as gamogony. When the erythrocyte lyses, when it breaks open, the merozoite and hemozoin toxins are released into the blood, and this will infect the other erythrocytes. The lysis of the RBC will result in the cycles of the fever and other symptoms. The erythrocytic stage is cyclic and repeats itself approximately every 48 to 72 hours. The sudden release of the merozoite triggers an attack on the RBCs. Sometimes these merozoite will differentiate into macrogametocyte and microgametocyte, and when these gametocytes are ingested by the mosquito by sucking the blood from the person, they develop into the male and the female gametes in the body of the mosquito. In the mosquito gut, the male and the female gametes will fertilize to form the zygote, diploid zygote or ookinete. This ookinete will migrate into the mosquito's gut wall and it develops into a oocyte. And oocyte undergo meiosis by a process called sporogony to form the sporozoites, and these sporozoites will migrate out of the salivary glands of the mosquito. Now once again, when the mosquito bite another healthy person, the parasite sporozoites are injected into another healthy person. Like that, the cycle will be continuing. What are the pathological changes caused by the malaria? Malaria not only affects the erythrocyte but also it affects the spleen and other visceral organs. The incubation period of malaria is about 12 days. The early symptoms of malaria are headache, nausea and muscular pain. The symptoms first developed or because of the release of the merozoite and the hemozoin toxins. And the erythrocyte debris into the bloodstream will result in the malarial paroxysms, that is shivering, chills, high fever followed by sweating. So fever and chills are caused partly by the malarial toxins that induce the macrophage to release the tumor necrosis factor, which is called TNF alpha, and interleukin. These are the immune substances that are released by our body to attack the invading pathogen. So that is tumor necrosis factor and interleukin. They are released by the macrophage cells of our immune system in response to the malarial toxins that are produced by the parasite. How to prevent this malaria? So it is possible to break the transmission through the Anopheles mosquito by killing the insect vector. So mosquito will lay their eggs in water. The larva will hatch and develop in the water, but they breathe air by moving to the surface. So oil can be sprayed over the water surface, by which we can avoid this mosquito larva to develop into larva and pupa to breathe, and by which we can kill them. Ponds and drainages, ditches and other permanent bodies of the water can be stocked with fishes like gambusia. So this gambusia will feed on the mosquito larvae, by which we can get rid of this mosquitoes. And preparations like Bacillus thuringiensis can be sprayed on the water bodies to kill the mosquito larvae, since they are toxic to other forms of the life. The best protection against the malaria is to avoid being bitten by the mosquito. So people are advised to use the mosquito net, wire gauging of windows and doors to prevent the mosquito bite. So people must prevent themselves from being bitten by the mosquitoes. In 1950s, the World Health Organization (WHO) introduced this malaria eradication program. However, this vaccine is not 100% efficient. It has only 26 to 50% efficacy, and so it is not recommended. Malarial vaccines are not recommended for the babies between 6 to 12 weeks by WHO. Name the types of malaria. There are 4 types of malaria, namely the benign tertian and vivax malaria, because it is caused by Plasmodium vivax and the duration of the erythrocytic cycle is 48 hours. Quartan malaria, which is caused by Plasmodium malariae, duration of erythrocytic cycle is 72 hours. Mild tertian malaria caused by Plasmodium ovale, the erythrocytic cycle is 48 hours, and malignant tertian malaria, which is caused by falciparum, which erythrocytic cycle is 36 to 48 hours. This is considered as the malignant and fatal. There are 3 important fungal diseases which are caused by fungus in human beings. The first one is called dermatomycosis, which is a subcutaneous infection, and this is caused by fungi which belong to the genera like Trichophyton, Microsporum and Epidermophyton. Ringworm is the next common fungal disease in human beings, and it appears like dry scaly lesions on the skin, nails and scalp. Scalp means in the head as dandruff. These are the main symptoms of this disease. Heat and moisture will help these fungi to grow better, and they will thrive into the skin folds, and so they grow very well in the groin region and between the toes. A ringworm of the feet is known as athlete foot, and it is caused by Tinea pedis. A ringworm is generally acquired from the soil and the things which are used by the infected person. Next we have the helminthic diseases in human beings. They are mostly endoparasites and get into the gut and the blood of the human beings and cause diseases like helminthiasis. The 2 most prevalent helminthic diseases are ascariasis and filariasis. Ascaris is a monogenic parasite. That means it has only one host and it exhibits sexual dimorphism. The parasite exhibits sexual dimorphism as male and the female worm. Ascariasis disease is caused by intestinal endoparasite called Ascaris lumbricoides. It is commonly called as roundworm. It gets transmitted through the ingestion of the embryonated eggs. It gets inside the body of the human beings as eggs through the contaminated food and the water. The children who are playing in the contaminated soil are more prone to have the chance of getting these eggs into their mouth. So the symptoms of this disease are abdominal pain, vomiting, headache, anemia, irritability and diarrhea. Heavy infection may cause nutritional deficiency, severe abdominal pain, and may cause stunted growth in the children. It causes enteritis, that means the inflammation in the intestinal region, hepatitis, inflammation in the liver, and bronchitis, inflammation in the bronchus, etc. The second disease is called filariasis. Filariasis is caused by Wuchereria bancrofti, and it is commonly called as filarial worm. It will infect the lymph vessels, lymph nodes of man. This Wuchereria bancrofti is sexually dimorphic, and they are viviparous and digenic. Digenic means they live in 2 hosts. Man is the first host and the female Culex mosquito is the second host. They are viviparous, they give birth to their young ones, and the male and the female worms are different. The female filarial worms give rise to the young ones, juveniles, which are called as microfilariae larvae. In the lymph glands, these juveniles will develop into adult. Accumulation of these worms in the lymphatic system will block the lymphatic system and results in the inflammation of the lymph nodes. In some cases, obstruction of the lymph vessel causes elephantiasis, which is called as filariasis of the limb, scrotum and mammary glands. Maintenance of personal and public hygiene. Hygiene is very important to conserve the good health. According to WHO, hygiene refers to the conditions and practices that helps to maintain the health and prevent the spread of diseases. Personal hygiene refers to maintaining one's own body clean by bathing, washing hands, trimming fingernails, wearing clean clothes, and it also includes keeping our house surfaces and workplace surfaces clean, including the toilet, bathroom, etc. Public hygiene refers to every surface we touch and air we breathe must be devoid of pollutants and microbes. Public hygiene can be attained not only by keeping the public places clean, but it also refers to the people who do not wash their hands before taking their food, after visiting the restroom, and the people who sneeze without covering their faces, etc. Many infectious diseases like typhoid, amoebiasis, ascariasis are transmitted through the contaminated food and the water. So advancement in the science and technology provide us effective controlling measures for many infectious and non-infectious diseases. Vaccines and immunization programs are adopted in India to eradicate the smallpox. And many diseases, infectious diseases like polio, diphtheria, pneumonia, tetanus are controlled by the use of vaccines and by creating awareness among the people.